Hi guys, I'm sure most of you are aware of the Tiger King documentary on Netflix and that Carol Baskin featured in this from Big Cat Rescue and that her husband Don Lewis went missing, and the rumour circulating is that she had someone make her husband disappear and then fed him to the big cats, and he's never been found. But since that documentary came out, a lot of armchair detectives have been taking a look at the legal documents relating to Carol Baskin, Carol Lewis, and some interesting stuff has come out. So if you guys haven't seen this, it appears that Don Lewis's will, the power of attorney, and some other documents, a notary seal, have been forged. So this could be very interesting moving forward as to what happens to the estate of Don Lewis that went to Carol Baskin and not his three daughters. So I guess if you're going to take an original sample that you can 100% believe was made by the real person, you would take it from something like a wedding, a marriage certificate, or a driver's license where you actually had to be there to sign it. I mean, you can assume that a person is at their own wedding or in front of someone at the DMV. So what someone might do is grab a source document. So it's got a signature of the person and there's no wording or anything around it, and then they've got a clear picture of your signature, and then that's the document they'll use for tracing. So that's what appears to have happened here. Sometimes what people will do is they'll trace the first name and then move the source document over a little bit, and then trace the next name and then move it over a little bit more and trace the last name. And the reason they do that is so some of the signatures they look different because of the spacing, but they're actually the same. And you're going to see that here because some of these documents are going to be the same, but it's going to be one name at a time that is transposed on top of each other. So you'll see, like, the power of attorney, all three names are exactly the same. They didn't move the source document. Maybe they didn't have enough time for this, but it appears the source document was moved a little bit in this one, and then they wrote the middle name or whatever. So when you watch this, you're going to see pretty quickly what happened. So this is a good example. You can see that the source document was moved over, so the last name could be traced. It's the exact same signature though. They just moved it over. So the spacing wouldn't be exactly the same as the source document. Now if you have a look, the source documents have been moved again, and you can see that the K matches up perfectly, so each name matches exactly as the source document, but the spacing is just off because they moved the source document over a little bit again. These two documents, the will and the power of attorney, played such a big role in this that everyone needs to understand this is really important. I mean, if you ever have a motive for murder, it's right here in these documents, and if these documents are forged, that's huge. It's clear to me when you watch this loop over that the signatures have been traced, and then if they were traced, that means they were forged. They should be null and void. There's more stuff coming up for another reason why they should be null and void as well, but for now, just looking at these and the tracings, it's pretty obvious. There shouldn't have been power of attorney given to Carol because of that. There shouldn't have been a will that named Carol as the beneficiary of all these different things. It should have stayed with the three daughters of Don Lewis, and this is just the start. Okay, so moving on to the notary seal, and I'm going to explain this to you guys. This is a seal that's created as a stamp for people to use on the documents. In Australia we have a JP, a Justice of the Peace, who would witness signatures, but for the most part these are created in America and have the signature or the information of the notary, the witness, to be used on the documents. You've seen this before in the power of attorney and the will for Sandra Whitcomb, and I just want to explain what it is that you're looking at here. So in this you can see the name and the address of the bonding agent, notary, public underwriter. But look at the address below that, the mailing address for Sandra Whitcoff, and it's 12802 Easy Street. If you're aware of different addresses and locations, you'll know that that address belongs to Carole Baskin and Carol Lewis. So not only do we have these tracings of Don Lewis's signature, we also have this stamp on the power of attorney in the will, giving Carole control over Don Lewis's estate. The address for Sandra is Carole's address. So did Sandra even know that this notary seal had been created? It doesn't sound like she does. She did an interview with Jerry Mitchell and told him that she was just the housekeeper. So she was Carole Baskin's housekeeper back in the day, and it seems like that she didn't even know that this notary still existed and was sent to Carole's house. Also look at the application day on it, the issue day, 11/16/96. I don't know when she applied for it, but if she applied for it just shortly before that, and it took, say, a week to 10 days for that stamp to arrive, there's no way it would have been there on November 21st. November 21st is when the power of attorney and the will were signed, supposedly, allegedly. So if that stamp had not been made yet, those documents would have had to have been backdated. Those documents, supposedly looking at this, were actually made after Don went missing, not before. They were file stamped a month after Don went missing. So it could be seen that they were done after he went missing, and that they were backdated. If this notary stamp was not mailed out until, say, November 13th, then there's no way it would have been able to be used on the power of attorney and the will, because it wasn't physically possible it had even been created. She said she remembered nothing about authenticating them. I don't remember a will at all, notary Sandra Whitcoff told the Mississippi Center for Investigative Reporting. I was the housekeeper. And it doesn't stop there. In the next episode, I'll show you another reason why the power of attorney and the will should be null and void, as well as some emails that are allegedly from one of the witnesses on this power of attorney and will that talks about different aspects of that.